And we are live. Thank you, everyone, for joining us for Selling Florida in 2021 Agent Insights. I am joined today by Jonathan Monroe from Barhead Travel. He is the long haul manager there. And we have Kate Holroyd, who is director of Strawberry Holidays, also here today. Both are our designated Florida experts to chat to you today. So I've got lots of questions for them. We're going to be covering bookings and inquiries trends in terms of like the what, who, when, and why. We're going to be covering tips and advice for marketing holidays to Florida, as well as recommended plans and strategies for selling Florida in 2021. And I'm also going to ask about any personal experiences these agents have had. If you do have any questions for Kate or Jonathan during the session, please do pop them in the chat box, and we will try and get to them as and when during the session between now and 3:30. So my first question is about bookings right now. What is the kind of frequency of your inquiries and bookings for Florida looking like at the moment? I mean, how often are they coming in? Are you seeing any pickups and any slowdowns? Kind of what's the state of the market at the moment? Jonathan, shall I come to you first?
Yeah, thanks, Maddie, and good to be here today. So Florida for us has always been one of our top destinations in normal times, and going specifically about how the market is just now, even month to date, last week, it was our top selling destination for my team. My team only sells long haul travel, so obviously with what's on the green list or what's on the red list, we're not booking many people just now for this year, but 2022 is selling really, really well, and we're also getting inquiries and bookings as far as 2024 for Florida. People planning that far in advance, so it's going really well.
Okay, great. And Kate, what about Strawberry Holidays? What are bookings and inquiries looking like at the moment?
Yeah, same. So I'm getting weekly inquiries, but definitely, like Jonathan says, for much further ahead, sort of 23, like Jonathan says, into 24 as well. People are really keen to understand what's going on with the parks, and I think it's slowed down a little for me the last few weeks as that US-UK corridor remains closed on the US side, but still getting at least an inquiry a week for Florida.
Okay, great. And of those inquiries that are coming in and the forward bookings that you're making, are there any regions within Florida that are attracting like the most interest or kind of an unusual amount of interest? What areas are you seeing the most interest in, I guess? Kate?
Well, certainly for me, it's the majority is in Orlando. Some of it as well out of Fort Lauderdale for cruise, because I do specialise in Disney and cruise. So they're sort of the two key areas for myself. Miami, Fort Lauderdale, and Orlando for the theme parks.
Okay, great. And Jonathan, what about Barhead?
So again, no, without sounding like I'm repeating everything Kate's saying, it's very similar. Orlando, by far, obviously the top selling destinations, or destination within Florida. Mixture of twin centres though within Orlando, and people looking to experience the Disney and Universal hotels on the same trip, as well as twin centres, Orlando and the beach. My specific team doesn't deal with cruises, but we are, I'm aware that the business is doing really well, cruising out in Miami, and again, people doing twin and multi-centres. The Disney campaign's still going strong, the 50th celebration, so that's still bringing in new inquiries for 2022, which is helping drive sales for us, which is good.
Okay. And you mentioned twin centres there, so obviously that would be a longer stay. But typically, what duration are customers looking for at the moment? They're looking for week-long, 2-week. Is anyone going for longer trips? What's the kind of trend there in terms of length of stay?
Okay. For myself, it's 2 weeks minimum at the moment, which is incredible, actually, because I know that this time last year when we did Florida Fest, they were saying people were up in from 7 days to 10, but I'm definitely seeing 14 days, and people are willing to stay that longer as well. They want to jam in as much as they can. Like Jonathan says, I'm experiencing multi-centres as well, where they want to put in a beach break and wildlife, like all these kind of experiences seem really, really to be really, really encouraging for people. people, and they're not put off by taking the kids out of school either. For, you know, they're looking at school holidays plus a bit extra. I think the time out of school this last 18 months has kind of given a different sort of attitude to that. That's certainly what I'm seeing with my client base anyway.
Okay, great. And Jonathan, what about Barhead? Well, what's kind of a duration of holidays looking like?
Yeah, so we try and be a bit more creative to offer something a bit different in terms of our advertising, where we'll offer odd durations. You know, gone is the norm of doing a typical 14-day holiday, and we'll try and even mix it up. Although Florida's, you know, the key part of a family holiday, you know, Disney, etc. But we'll extend that out to doing, you know, the cruise ideas for the cruise guys. But then a week in, say, Mexico afterwards, you know, to like an ultimate family holiday, parks and beach. You know, we're doing 17, 18, 19, 20 night durations, you know, even up to 3 weeks. 14 nights, obviously, still the most popular duration. But as I say, week in, week out, we will see odd durations. Nothing less than 2 weeks, really, just now is getting booked, though. It's 2 weeks and above. Okay,
great. And I mean, you mentioned twin centre breaks there, but in terms of the type of trip that customers are interested in, is anyone looking for, is it mainly beach breaks they're after? Is anyone looking for road trips? Is there any kind of type of trip that is kind of in the spotlight at the moment at Barhead? Jonathan, should I come back to you first?
Yeah, so again, it's, you know, we're booking a lot of families and groups. You know, a couple of families going traveling together. That's usually centered around the villa and Disney Universal Park experience. We have had bookings where people then, you know, hire a car and drive down to the coast and do a couple of different beach spots. So Clearwater, and even go as far down as the Keys. Just again, you know, some people haven't travelled for 2 years, might even come 3 years before they've been on a holiday, and they're looking to really go on a big blowout holiday and do something a little bit different. You know, a lot of people that have did Florida over the years are looking to then do something a little bit different, you know, still do the park experience, but they've been there and done that. So they're looking to explore more with what Florida has to offer. So road trips, if you want to call it that, but with planned hotels, you know, a kind of detailed itinerary, 3-4 centre, all within Florida. So we're booking those type of holidays just now, along with the mainstream 2 weeks in Orlando.
Okay, and Kate, what types of trip are proving popular at Strawberry Holidays?
Very similar. So groups of people looking at villas, and then the road trip element to, you know, have that bit of adventure, bit of flexibility, but at the same time having things booked so they know where they're going when. So it's really interesting actually to see how much more open customers seem to be around those bespoke itineraries, and you know, this idea of using a travel agent, using a travel expert is really key to help them deliver that.
Okay. And what about who is actually asking? I mean, I know you said you get a lot of families coming to Florida. I know that's widely known, but are you seeing any changes in the type of customer that is coming to you to book breaks to Florida? Kate, should I come back to you first?
No, I haven't really seen much change. So I have client avatars that I work to. You know, I really understand them, Sue and Lisa and James, and I haven't seen a shift from them really. That, you know, they're in their 40s, early 50s. They've got children in their lives, whether that's their own children or whether that's you know, godchildren or stepchildren and things like that. So very much still that core customer for myself.
And Jonathan, what about Barhead?
Well, you know, you get so many different demographics because Florida does appeal to so many, whether it's, you know, people in their 20s going their first long haul holiday, but they've maybe never got to go to Florida as a kid, and they're still a big kid and want to experience Disney, the theme parks, the rides. Obviously, families dominate that market for us. But again, you know, I had a client this week, they were in their 70s and they go to Florida every year. They go to Tampa. That's their version of a beach holiday. You know, not going to Europe, not going to the usual spots in Europe. They love Tampa, and they've been going there, you know, for 20, 30 years. He was telling me. So, as I say, you get a mixed demographic, you know, in different ranges of people. You know, dominated by families again, but it's good to see the people in their 20s and the early 30s, as well as I say, in the the retirees, let's say.
Yeah, absolutely. And in terms of budgets that customers have to spend on a holiday to Florida, have you seen any shift in kind of the amount of money people have to spend, maybe whether based on whether they've been able to save during the pandemic or maybe had money troubles during the pandemic? Have you seen any changes there? Jonathan, shall I come back to you first?
We really have, and this maybe doesn't just apply to Florida, but we really are seeing people loosen the purse strings, let's say, and the word budget or working towards a budget doesn't seem to be apply the way it maybe did pre-pandemic, which is really encouraging that you can really, people come to us with their ideas, but then we'll throw our ideas in and give them, more things to think about, more things to experience, and to know that you can up the standards of hotel, like I say, up in the duration, but just getting still more value for money out of the holiday. And like I say, it's we're not in that market just now where it's kind of cutthroat, price led, last minute deals. It's people booking obviously a year, two, even as I said, 3 years in advance, and money isn't the main object, which is or the budget. And it's really encouraging to see people are definitely spending more money than what they probably would normally, based on everything that's been happening.
Okay, interesting. And Kate, are you seeing something similar?
Exactly the same. Yeah, people don't seem to get hung up on the same on the budget, and anyone that does have a budget in mind or a spend in mind, it's almost a lot more realistic. They can get exactly the type of holiday they want for the money they're saying that they want to spend. So yeah, my average spend has gone up from sort of 5.5 for Florida to sort of 8.5 on average, an average booking value, which is brilliant. It's really great to see that. Obviously we're struggling at the moment out of Manchester for availability, so those prices are going up for next year, but clients don't seem to be so switched off to that. It's more about getting away, and they know they've got time to save, and yeah, they do seem to be a lot more flexible on budget than they've ever been before.
Okay, great. That's great news.
Fantastic. Bring more, please.
And apart from everything we've just talked about, are there any other trends that you're noticing selling holidays to Florida that agents watching could benefit from or tap into? Is there anything else that springs to mind? Jonathan, should I come to you first?
Try to think what we've maybe not covered. I just think, again, it's everything that's happened over the last 16 months and may continue, just for the rest of this year. People are just looking for that wow moment again when it comes to holidays, and it's just about tapping into that and just understanding again how emotional holidays are for people, how precious they are to people. And as I say, we try and encourage that with the ideas that they come with to what we can then maybe enhance or over deliver on their expectations. And customers seem to be giving us the opportunity to do that. Give us a kind of blank piece of paper and we'll fill it out for them. Mm-hmm. And it's just giving them different ideas, different experiences, and that's what people want. I think Kate mentioned there, animal interaction, adventure. There's so much more to offer now, and they want to experience that. I think people have been locked up in the houses watching Netflix, TV shows, and all the things, and thinking, right, I'm going to created their own different bucket list. And I feel I'm the same now when it's offering holidays. I'm looking to do more than what I did before in terms of give them that experience. So I just think with Florida, it's such an amazing product. There's so many different ways of doing it, so many different things you can do. And if you don't offer it, then the customers won't know it maybe exists. So I think, coming away from the basics of offering Florida, Orlando, Disney, Universal. So I hope that covered it in a roundabout way there.
Yeah, absolutely. And Kate, what about you? Is there anything else that springs to mind in terms of trends?
Yeah, just to expand on what Jonathan said there. So I finally caught up on the amazing vacation rentals last night on Netflix, and there was this amazing floats and boats episode where they had the arc out of Miami, which just looked incredible. And certainly I see people coming to me saying, oh, I've watched this or I've seen this, like I'd really love to do something along those lines. And then the only other one is the multi-generational, the groups looking to reconnect, be that in one villa or be that in, multiple apartments and things like that, but they're just looking for ways. And then each group of that has their own individual agenda of what else they want to see in Florida. So yeah, there's definitely those two things that we can tap into.
Okay, thanks. And moving on to marketing, I mean, I know you're getting inquiries and bookings at the moment, but are you actively promoting holidays to Florida? And if you are, what's your strategy and how are you kind of implementing that? Kate, should I come back to you first?
Yeah, definitely. I think one of the biggest things with long haul travel, like not necessarily just America, but just in general, is it's a lot of overwhelm for people. People can feel quite overwhelmed, and there's a lot of pain points that come with it. So I try and market down that route. Sue and Lisa, they have huge family expectations on these holidays, and it brings a lot of stress with it. So I certainly definitely market to that side and their emotions and how I can handhold them through. And I think that's true in a post-COVID landscape, this idea to handhold and to help with the administration and to help with the ins and outs of everything. So it's definitely that. And then sort of the planning, like I say, holding hands, and I do that through content marketing. So whether that's with live video or my blog or articles on LinkedIn, definitely to sort of drive those hints and tips and things of how to reduce those pain points.
Okay, great. And Jonathan, how's Barhead Travel marketing Florida right now?
Yeah, so obviously, with the big organisation that we have, we have our marketing e-commerce team who do a lot of the kind of driving around that, and obviously our commercial teams who work closely with, some of the suppliers that have been on today. We done joint marketing with Universal just a few months ago. Obviously, the big Disney campaign, which everybody in the trade would have benefited from. But day to day, week by week, multi-channel approach to our marketing, online, offline. Such a big presence on social media, which is probably as powerful as anything just now in terms of any marketing that you can do. And again, just kind of to try and attract those customers, we'll try to make it more about, not about a price, not about selling a holiday in a roundabout way. It's about the product selling itself. I think that's really, really important. And just to try and enhance those customers to come to us without relying on a lead-in offer or a price-led offer. There's those type of clients for that and those type of holidays. But with, as I say, our kind of different approach is to let the holiday sell itself and with videos and content from our suppliers and stuff like that. So it does seem to work for us. The results are there. And I believe it will only get stronger as we see out the rest of this year. And there's more confidence with travel, and hopefully the US UK travel corridor finally opens up, and again I think that'll just I think inquiries again will go through the roof once we start seeing people flying.
Okay, great. And of those kind of channels that you were mentioning just there, Jonathan, in terms of online or even maybe something in print, is there any channels that are achieving better results than other channels? So is there any, are you seeing particularly good results for webinars or social media? What's kind of in the spotlight at the moment when it comes to marketing?
Yeah, so I don't know if I can answer that directly with a specific answer. What I can say is, like I say, social media is massively important to us. Obviously, through our Facebook, we've got multiple Facebook. I can't remember the word I was looking for. Multiple Facebook pages. Across the business, and that's a kind of big focus for us. Press advertising at this moment in time probably isn't something we want to focus on just now, but again, there'll be a time and a place for that. as I say, come out of the pandemic later in the year and early next year. So social media, our online activity, our website drives so much inquiries through calls and actual inquiries that clients can reach us, out of hours. So that drives inquiries and ultimately bookings daily and weekly for us.
Okay. And Kate, what about you? And I know you've got a huge social media presence, but is there any particular channel that is really achieving a lot of results for you right now?
So LinkedIn, which always kind of surprises people, but there's huge opportunity on LinkedIn. It's going through a really dramatic change, is LinkedIn, and it is still very business focused, but there does seem to be a shift into those more personal posts, and people do seem to be making more personal buying decisions, on that platform. So LinkedIn is definitely an area that I'm going to be concentrating a lot more on, and obviously with you can do live video in there. You can have great spots for your images and stories now even. So that's one area, and I'm just making sure I'm talking to the right people on the right platform. So like I say, James, my ideal client, is a chap that loves Disney and Marvel. He's on LinkedIn. He's got his own business. Lisa and Sue, they're making their buying decisions over on Facebook. So, and I do that across my personal network on Facebook and my business page, because we all know that reach is terrible on your Facebook business page. So a lot of what I'm doing on Facebook is actually being in groups. So there's a group called Lancashire Gossip Gals, and I pay £5 a month so that I can post anytime I want in there, and I'll comment on what's going on in there. And then, if someone tags a question to a travel agent, I'm getting tagged like 4, 5, 6 times just because I'm in the group and I have a presence. And then add to that the fact that I can post about, the news from Walt Disney, the celebration, the stuff that's going on in Miami, the cruises that are leaving Fort Lauderdale. It's a really great opportunity. And then offline, I do again, networking, which is huge. And I think that's why I do so much live video, because I think, getting that personality across and people seeing your face, it's really, really important. So, they're sort of like the key areas for myself.
Okay, cool. And I mean, you mentioned a few kind of hooks that you've used there, but are there any hooks that you've been using recently in terms of new attractions or events? Is there anything that you've been kind of tapping into in that respect? Kate?
I can't say there is. One of the biggest things for me for Florida, though, is the fact that it's a year-round destination. So one of the things that people constantly ask, in fact, I've even created a lead magnet from it, is when is the best time to go to Florida? And I always. Everyone's different, aren't they? Because some people love a sandy beach and some people love a pebbly beach, and some people love to sweat, dripping down, and they love the humidity, and then other people want it to be as dry as can be. And so, it's about digging deeper and asking those questions. But yeah, certainly the sort of year-round aspect, and it's so easy to get around Florida, and you can be in the Keys, and then sort of 6, 7, 8 hours later from a drive that is like scenery you've never seen before. I mean, we drove Miami to Orlando, and we did it back again in our own road trip, and the scenery is incredible, even just as you're driving. So there's masses to do there.
Okay, great. I mean, I haven't been since I was a kid, so I think it's about time I went back and saw it all, to be honest. But Jonathan, are there any marketing hooks that Buyer Travel is using to sell Florida at the moment?
Again, similar to Kay, nothing specific jumps to mind, but what we do is we constantly review our content and what we've had previously and make sure we're coming up with something different. Like I said before, with the proofs and the bookings that we're getting and the different types of clients that are booking, there's something for everybody. There's so many different types of holidays that you can have that isn't just the 2 weeks in Orlando around the theme park. So again, it's just coming up with different content, itineraries, expose different parts of Florida, from the East Coast, West Coast, the road trips, right down to Miami. Again, there's such a Miami's and Florida was kind of the first state that kind of almost got back to normal, and the world's looking at Florida thinking, why are they okay? What's happening here? So people are, as I say, it's on the news, it's in social media, it's selling itself for you already. So you just got to tap into what's happening there. Music festivals for the kind of young and lively market, obviously the travel corridor is not opening just now, but March is such a busy time, and we'll advertise young and lively trips, which is again something different compared to people that would maybe go to your Ibiza type of destination. So again, it's just knowing what's happening out there and then using that as part of your marketing, for future trips and just to be different, week in, week out, monthly, and just reviewing what you're advertising.
Great. And would those be your tips and advice for agents that have joined today, or do you have any additional tips and advice for them if they're maybe not as familiar with selling Florida as you are?
Again, it's not about being. I don't class myself as an expert, but by any stretch of the imagination, particularly on Florida. But it's somewhere that is high in demand all the time. So you have to be aware of what's going on, and as I say, to tap into a different type of market that that automatically doesn't. You automatically get the kind of all Orlando inquiries. Obviously, you want more of them as well because they're good bookings and good customers to have. So definitely just looking at what else Florida has to offer, the different types of holidays that you can have there, whether you're in your 20s, 30s, 50s, you're a family, you're a group, and it's events like these that will help expand your knowledge on the destination.
Yeah, absolutely. And Kate, what tips and advice do you have for selling Florida?
Well, use the suppliers. So the presentations that you see today, take screen grabs, speak to the suppliers, get the imagery. How many suppliers are involved in Florida Fest? It looks like there's over 20. That could be half a year's worth of content for Florida. If once every week you focus on a different area of Florida and use what you're learning in this session. And the other thing as well is, like last year I did sort of lots of behind the scenes Instagram stories of me taking part in Florida Fest, that showing your customer that you're building your knowledge, even something as simple as that. Testimonials is a huge one, that's social proof, because I get a lot of referrals on the back of Florida bookings particularly, or to be honest, USA in general, more long haul stuff. I do get a lot of referrals on that. So maybe work on your referral game, maybe offer some sort of reward if people refer a friend and they book. I offer a charitable donation, so if somebody gets referred, I do it with local cricket clubs as well, so sports clubs, so that the sports club gets a little bit of a donation off the back of bookings made by members and things like that. So there's loads of opportunity around that if you delve a little bit deeper.
Great, thanks. Now, I know that the past year has not been easy breezy when it comes to travel. So I just wanted to ask about any challenges that you might have faced with selling Florida in the past year and how you overcame them in case anyone else is experiencing the same thing. So Kate, can I come back to you first for that one?
Yeah, I've definitely seen that conversion is taking a lot longer in general, but specifically around Florida and USA. So what I've tried to do is kind of head off any questions and concerns, and obviously the more you talk to people, the more you pick up like a pattern of what those concerns are and try and head them off. And again, this is where your content marketing comes back into play, because if you've got a blog about how you road tripped from Miami to Orlando and how it's doable in a 10-day trip, and you've got a customer that's like, oh, I'm not sure if I'm booking too much into the time that we're away, you can send them that link. It's there and waiting. So that's something I've tried to head off quite a lot and try and bring that conversion time down, because at the moment some of them can go on for like 4 to 6 weeks, and some of that's because people are busy and the type of client that I've got, they are very busy, and they make a lot of decisions in their life, so they do take that longer to consider. But if I'm there with an answer, if I'm there with a blog post, if I'm there with a live video to send them that stuff, to hopefully head off those questions and concerns and bring that conversion time down, definitely that's a sort of a goal of mine.
Okay, great. And Jonathan, what about a barhead? What challenges have you experienced and how have you overcome them?
Yeah, so no doubt the last year and a bit has been probably the most challenging time that the travel industry has ever faced, and with customers and specifically about Florida, they're almost convinced themselves that they must go or they need to go. It's almost if you've told your little ones that you're going to Florida and it's not managed to happen, unless there's some personal issues that may stop you travelling in the future, financial issues. Customers are very encouraging about rebooking, which is really good because they want that holiday, they want that experience. So of course we still face challenges, but it's maybe it's not been the same as maybe some other destinations, Florida specific. In terms of new customers, similar to what Kate said, it's the time frame of converting may take a little bit longer. For me, and my team, we try to be upfront and honest with customers of how we see it. If somebody came to me today looking to go to Florida in September, I'm always saying, well, let's be realistic here, and try and work around that. And we have had inquiries like that, and it's just been upfront and honest. And the customers are appreciating that, and then give them the peace of mind to commit to 2022 and beyond. Availability is going to be an issue. That's just a fact. We're possibly facing 2 summers where nobody's been to Florida. The 2020 passengers have rebooked for 2021. They're now rebooking again for 2022. The 2021 first-time bookers are rebooking for 2022. Then you've got new customers who haven't booked at all, looking for 2022. So you've got 3 years of availability trying to squeeze into one potential summer. So that creates automatic urgency, and we're just telling the customers the truth that you don't book now or commit now, price probably won't be there and the availability won't be there, and that seems to be working for us.
Yeah, interesting. And in terms of now we've taken a look back, but in terms of looking forward, what is your plan for marketing and selling Florida in the coming months, Jonathan?
So again, we just we just look at what's happening just now. Obviously we compare numbers week on week, month by month. There's obviously, it feels now there's more positivity around travel than there has been in the last 16 months, but we've still got a bit of a way to go. Right now we passengers can't physically get to America today, and until that travel corridor opens up, I don't believe it will then really kick off even further. So again, we just, as much as you can be, proactive in terms of your marketing and plans and strategies, right now the job's very much reactive. So what we may want to do next week might change based on any news that comes out, but at the same time, just now there's opportunities as well. That of course there's opportunities, and as I say, what people are seeing out in Florida just now gives people a lot of hope and confidence that, listen, it might open up this year. There might be a part of summer that we get out of Florida, or the start of the winter season, kind of November onwards. Never mind next year. So we plan. We work with our suppliers. As I say, we've got campaigns booked in with some of our suppliers, and we hope for a positive future to send people to Florida.
Okay, great. And Kate, what about Strawberry Holidays? What are your plans for marketing and selling in the coming months?
Yeah, very, very similar to Jonathan, to be very reactive, but to sort of plan a little bit more with my content marketing, and to start answering those questions that are cropping up, and then to think about Florida Unseen and the hidden gems, and teaming that with cruise as sort of a package. We were talking before we came live about my new to cruise at the moment is over 50% of cruise bookings are new to the cruise. To cruise. So sort of using that really and encouraging that from, especially from Florida, because you've got those short sailing durations. So to create this ultimate holiday, where you can have a land base and then, 3 nights, 4 nights in guaranteed sunshine, enjoy these private islands in the Bahamas. So that's certainly something I'll be looking at over the next 3 to 6 months, really.
Okay, cool. And just before we wrap up, we've got about 10 minutes left. I want to ask a few questions about your personal experiences in Florida. Kate, you mentioned that you visited on a trip a few moments ago.
Yes.
And so where did you go? What did you see? Who did you travel with? What was the itinerary? Can you give us a bit of an overview?
Definitely. I mean, my first time to Florida, to the USA, in fact, was actually with Cruise 118 when I worked there in the marketing team. And I was fortunate enough to do Disney for sort of 5 days, a lot of conference, but then a little bit of free time as well. And that was really brilliant because I got to spend a lot of time on my own. So I got to see like really what it was all about for me, like not for my kids running around. And that was really, really important. But then in 2017, in November, we were fortunate enough to take our daughter, and we flew into Miami, we drove up to Orlando, did four nights in Orlando. Again, we did the not so scary Halloween party, which was out of this world. Got to see all the parks. Then we hit the road again, went to Port Canaveral. We did the Space Center, which my daughter loved, and we were fortunate enough to see an astronaut panel with 3 generations of female astronauts. Like, I couldn't have written it better for my daughter to be inspired by these women. It was fantastic. And then we drove to Miami from there. And at the time, she was very into these American Girl dolls. So we had to go to the American Girl shop, the only one in Miami. So we managed to find this random mall. And then we did Miami. My husband did, I mean, it was a jam-packed trip. My husband did the American football at the Hard Rock Stadium. He got to see the Miami Dolphins play the Raiders. So he was loved that. And then my daughter and I, we went and found a really beautiful Italian restaurant in South Beach. And then we drove I'm very lucky, I've got family in Florida and San Francisco. So we stayed with my aunt and uncle in Fort Lauderdale, and we did everything from hitting the beach to, we went to a ranch and did horse riding. We went to Flamingo Gardens and got to see flamingos, which was, again, all around my daughter. I mean, she plans most of our itineraries, to be fair. But yeah, so we really wanted to see a lot of Florida. We were away for 2 weeks. We got a car. We knew we had our stay with family at the end, so it meant we could push the boat out a little bit in the other areas. So yeah, it was really fantastic. A really, really great trip.
Great. And what did you learn from it? Did you come back with any like golden nuggets?
Oh my gosh, yes. And I use this a lot now, which is the military planning that you need for the parks, regardless of whether you're there for 3 or 7 or 10 days. Like, to know that you need your fast passes and your dining. The other nugget I got was the time of year. So we were really fortunate to be there for the switchover between Halloween and Christmas, which happens in October half term. So I definitely always explore that with clients that want to see these different seasons, because it's a great time of year to do that. And booking too much in as well, America is so much bigger than we realize. We learned it when we went to California as well. We booked too much into our 2 weeks in California. And you don't necessarily give those places the time. Like, I'd love to have spent longer in Miami. I really, really would have. I think there was more to see than we did. So yeah, they're probably the 2 biggest things I learned. Well, 3 things I learned, yeah.
Great, thanks. And Jonathan, same questions to you. Have you been to Florida? And if so, can you give us an overview of the trip?
I have I haven't done as much as Kate has, so she's. I'm glad I followed her there. That was great. So, but just over 10 years ago, I think I was lucky enough to go on one of the Universal farms, which was 7 days staying at Universal. Was incredible. So we managed to experience Royal Pacific and the Hard Rock Hotel. They really, really, really looked after us. It was just an amazing experience. Having been in travel at that time, it was about 12, 15 years in travel, sent loads of people to Florida, just couldn't quite believe the scale and the size of the place. With your own, you've got an idea in your head, but until you see it with your own eyes, and this kind of just goes on to what Kate said, rather than thinking, you have to be an OCD person to plan your day, your hour, but you really do to get the most out of the holiday. You really, really do. So that's the best advice I give my clients. They come in again, the 2-week Orlando customers, never been before, taking the kids, they want to do everything, and you actually have to kind of pull them back and say, you can't do everything. You won't do it justice. So, are you going to do a Disney holiday, or do you think Universal and maybe the flexi tickets might be more suitable? Ultimately, it's their holiday and their money. If they want to do everything, then we'll give them the best holiday we can. But we'll really try and get them to understand what they're going for. The age of the kids, what do they want to experience? Are they Harry Potter fans? Are they Disney fans? Again, if they're everything, then we just got to try and work around. Well, make them go for 3 weeks. So, yeah, Universal, I did. Was an incredible experience. Again, I'd actually I've got 2 young kids, and we were booked to go last October, and obviously holiday didn't happen. I rebooked it for this October, and it got cancelled back in April. Probably thought it would, but I was going to do a Universal. My kids love Harry Potter, and my son loves all the Marvel stuff, so we knew we were going to do more of a Universal holiday, and I wanted to take them to Hard Rock to experience it. Obviously, it's not the cheapest hotel in Orlando, so we were doing 10 nights at the Dockside Hotel, Dockside Inn and Suites, Universal, and then 4 nights at the Hard Rock. So again, it was a good compromise of what I wanted to experience, the parks I was intending to go to, and with the fast pass facility at the Hard Rock at the end, and again got me the price I was looking to spend, and it's just a clever way. I encourage agents to think about splitting a hotel duration even within the same destination. It's quite a popular way of doing it, and again, something we do a lot for clients when it's a Disney week and then a Universal week. So I'm hoping to go next year. That'd be the 3rd attempt. It was October I went, so I did the Halloween horror shows. Again, I think that's a great time. The weather was not too intense, not too humid, but still very nice. And the Halloween horror experience at Universal was just again out of this world. What they do there is incredible. And as I say, hopefully 2022 I finally get to go.
Okay, great. I think we've just about got time for one more question for you both. Are you able to make any travel predictions about travel to Florida, or is there anything else that springs to mind that you want to share with agents that are watching today about Florida and how you're selling Florida? Any final words? Kate, shall I come to you first?
Just that the demand is there, and people think about this holiday for years, like years and years, and so they have an idea in their mind as to how old their kids are and when they'll make that leap to plan it. So yeah, it's about timing in a lot of respects, but the demand is there most definitely. Jonathan's sort of said it numerous times. People are really keen to go, and next year we're looking to cram 2-3 years into one season. So use the fact that people. And I'm the same as Jonathan, so I'll give straight up advice. And I was speaking to a client this week. He's going to Spain. He's not booked with me, but he had questions. Fine, no problem. Speaking to him, and he said, "I'll be back to talk to you about Florida. I want to go to Florida next year." And I said, what are we looking at budget-wise? And I kind of guided him to say, you're really thinking about 2022, because next year you're not really going to be very successful with availability and pricing as it is. And, it's just being able to have that conversation. So, be upfront, don't try and squeeze a square peg in a round hole. And the demand is definitely there, and you can probably spread it out the next couple of years.
Great, thanks. Jonathan, any final words or comments from you?
Just to kind of recap or echo what kind of Kate said, the demand's there. Advertise it and get a piece of the pie, as they say. Be creative with itineraries, offer something a little bit different. Use the supplies that are on here today to do some maybe joint marketing, online, offline. I would never like to predict when we can start sending people there. I do believe it will be at some point this year. probably the main Florida season will have passed, kind of post October, after the final school holidays. But then Christmas and New Year, hopefully we could be sending people then. But I really think it's all about 2022. Realistically for most passengers, they want to feel confident that they're going to get to experience all the rides. There's not going to be ridiculous queues or issues or restrictions. The thought of wearing a mask in that heat, all these things are in people's heads, and nobody can predict the future. And if the last 16 months has taught us anything, then be prepared for anything. But it does feel, hopefully, we're not far away from sending people to Florida again. And yeah, get people booked up now. People waiting or dragging the heels are just going to be left disappointed. That's a fact. So getting early, advertise 2023, 2024, and good luck.
Great. Thanks so much, Jonathan. And thank you, Kate, as well. And thank you to both of you for sharing your insight today. I'm sure it's been really valuable for agents watching to hear all that you have to say.
Perfect.
Great. So now, coming up next for TTG Florida Fest, we have a networking session, which is going to take place from now until 5 o'clock. You will be able to take part in this networking in the partner zones, which is under sponsors in the virtual lobby. And if I could ask you all to come back tomorrow for the second day of TTG Florida Fest, we'll be starting at 2:30 for the Florida Refresher Masterclass. We're going to be hearing about the destinations, activities, and attractions that the Visit Florida team have discovered in the past year. So really hearing from the experts there. There's plenty of selling tips to learn from the locals. So happy networking. Have great evenings, and we will see you tomorrow. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.